cohort.
Okay.
And so I just do mainly urban photography, street or architectural or abstract.
Okay.
And yeah, I just am kind of just trying to develop my my vision, I guess, of my photography. I've been concentrating a lot about that.
Okay.
So just kind of like, I don't know, kind of narrowing it down, but then being it broader, so I just kind of go back and forth with that. So.
Okay. Hi, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, Jessica. Hey,
How
Brian.
are you?
Hello.
Doing fine.
Doing fine.
You started early.
I did. I figured
Yeah.
I'd just jump in. A couple of the people said they couldn't make it from 9 to 10, so
Okay.
I'm still going to run it the full hour. So if you have
Okay.
other things to do and want to come back, that's totally fine.
That's okay. I'm going to have to run out in about 5 minutes and let the dog out before the official meeting starts, but I'll stay connected.
Okay, sounds good. So tell me a little bit about you, Bob, because you and I haven't gotten to hang out yet either.
Well, I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm retired.
Okay.
I spent, I guess, the last 15 years of my career running IT departments for law firms. And before that, I was a consultant in the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay.
So photography has been something that I've always played with and enjoyed, and I've always had a creative instinct, and I've always looked to be creative, and also always looked to try to be in some sort of training or information sharing mode. So I've always tried to incorporate that into whatever I've done. So this whole arcanum adventure and the path of the Protege appeals to me very, very, very much.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about that, because you're going to be one of the first, actually the first protege to become a master.
Well, let's hope.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So tell me about your cohort and where you see it going.
Okay, well, my own cohort, I'm focusing, I want to focus on what I'm calling technological artistry. I don't specifically care what genre of photography my apprentices will be, as long as everybody understands that I'm not an expert in many of the areas. Boudoir photography, for example, that's nothing, but what I want to do is help people define their vision of what it is they want to create and convey with their image, and then provide them with the technological guidance to present that the way they want it to be presented.
Okay. Now, do you feel like not being an expert in all of the areas can cause problems in understanding how to help them technologically, or do you feel like it's pretty universal?
I think it's pretty universal, because I'm going to focus more on the software end of things. I consider myself a software junkie. I have a lot of tools in my toolbox. Some I'm more facile with than others, but I think I know what to use, how to use it, and how to pull out exactly what you want it to be. And I view this as a two-way street and a learning experience for me, for someone who does a genre that I am not that conversant in.
Well, you and I definitely are on the same wavelength there. I'm a very big believer that a good teacher is always first a good student.
Yep. Exactly.
So, but I would be interested when you speak about technology, are you thinking more along the lines of like Photoshop and like software, or are you thinking like cameras and lighting and lenses?
I would say post-processing predominantly, but certainly, hang on, my dog just laid on my headphone cord. There we go. Certainly cameras and lenses, having the right tools. One area that I'm not really conversant in is in lighting and that kind of thing, or in how to pose a subject, things along those lines. I would rely that being the expertise of the photographers themselves.
Okay, very cool. I dig it. How about you, Brian? What are you thinking for your cohort? Tell me a little bit about where you see it going.
Well, actually, I was along the same lines as Bob, but not but on the opposite end, not technological, but on kind of like the vision and the artistry of it. And like, for example, in my cohort, I was in Martin Bailey's cohort,
Mm-hmm.
and that cohort is mainly wildlife and landscape.
Okay.
And I'm not that. I got it. He accepted me into it just because, well, we've met before, and the he accepted me because I did urban landscapes, I guess, and cityscapes, and that's how it kind of fit in there.
Okay.
But I kind of moved on a little bit from and doing more street and more abstract. But still, the cohort was really good in that, that was at that very general, the first 20 levels were just kind of general photography, getting to know, the technology, as Bob says, but also, what you want to do with your photography and how do you want to present your photography and within yourself and to other people. So I kind of took that and wanted to see also into my future cohort and how to do that with the apprentices coming in to make them feel confident about their photography, like what Martin did with me.
Okay.
So it's kind of the same thing as Bob, but I'm kind of on the other end because I'm not really super technologically, the software like Photoshop I'm just starting to learn about, and the of course Lightroom I'm pretty good at, but still, I'm still learning about that too. So yeah, that's the way I'm thinking about it.
Well, that's okay. Everybody always tells me I'm pretty accomplished in Photoshop, and I bet you I know about 5% of what its capabilities are, so it's always a learning process. Speaking of people that are gurus with the editing software, hi, Robin!
Hi, guys. I'm sorry I'm late, Jessica. I didn't get your message that you changed the time to earlier, so I was like, I'll prep for 6. But
No,
unfortunately, I thought to check my email and was like, wait a minute, I have this gut feeling.
No,
Anyway.
you're not late, but a couple of the proteges said that they couldn't make it at 9, so I wanted to just kind of start early because my other critique ended. So we're still going to run from 9 to 10. I just jumped on for anybody that wanted to hop in.
Cool, awesome. So I am really excited to get to actually meet everybody. Bob, I know. Hi,
Howdy.
Brian. Nice to
Hello.
meet you finally.
Nice to meet you.
Kyle.
Hey, everybody.
There's Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to run and take the dog out. I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
You'll have a blank screen.
So, Kyle, welcome to the hot seat. Who are you, and what do you do, and why you want to be a master?
Yes. So I am Kyle Van Etten, No Shortcuts Photography. I am a campus minister at UConn, so it's sort of a unique job. That doesn't actually totally encompass it, but it's the easiest way to explain it. So I work with an energetic group of college students and sort of provide spiritual and life direction, and actually use master-apprentice model with them. That's what Jesus did with his disciples, and so my circle of people talk a lot about what does it look like to do apprenticeship well, and just strategies and things. So I've been very trained in master-apprentice and use it on a kind of a daily basis. And so when I found out about the Arcanum, I just was really excited to be an apprentice and to learn. And there's ways that I've seen crossover on both sides. It's helped me be an apprentice, I think, and it's also helped me learn more about working with my students. And as far as the photography side of things goes, I've always loved to take pictures. And in 2011, my senior year of college, I had a really easy course load and decided to actually start taking it very seriously. And so it was around that time that I discovered Trey. I kind of have the typical Trey story where I saw his pictures and I was like, wow, I want to make pictures that are like that. I want to make pictures that look just amazing and stunning that people actually would buy. And so I bought his tutorial, the one that was out at the time, and started learning and working, and I've been shooting and processing and sharing ever since. So.
Very cool. Tell me what I should know about your cohort. Where do you see that going?
Yeah, I think I've been on the fence about. So I'm sure there's people who applied that are in sort of the waiting area that have spirituality as a component for their photography, which is, it certainly is for me. It's sort of a seeing beauty in the world and making sure to pause to see beauty around me. And so there's part of me that thinks that's a unique thing I offer that might not yet sort of be part of the arcanum. And so looking for apprentices where that is a thing. I think the other thing is just having a cohort where it's really non-threatening to beginners, since I'm so young and relatively new. I mean, there's people in the arcanum who've been doing photography longer than I've been alive. And so there's a certain humility I bring with that to say, yeah, I'm relatively new at this comparatively to some of the other masters, but I think I have a lot to offer, and especially for people starting out, helping them gain confidence and sort of the courage to pursue their own path and to produce their own work with their own vision, and kind of coaching them along in that. So either gathering a community of spiritual people that are curious about how photography mixes that, or just sort of helping people get their foot in the door and get their work kind of going and learn kind of basics and intermediate and even sort of more advanced stuff as they progress through the cohort.
Interesting.
I'm sorry. Is it? Are you going to like specifically try for Christians, or is it any kind of spirituality, Kyle?
I think any. I can see benefits to both. On campus, we actually really try to encourage a diverse group. So, for example, we just did a spring break trip, and one of the main sort of objectives of the trip is to do a 50-50 team, where it's 50% Christian and 50% other. And we actually find that our discussions are a lot fuller and a lot richer when we have lots of other perspectives. So
Awesome.
I probably want the same to be true for my cohort.
Awesome. One of the things that I work towards with my mentees and now my apprentices is that aspect of putting yourself into your work. And so many people, they go out there, they try and produce great art, and they're always constantly copying everybody else and doing what they think socially or culturally is expected of them instead of actually going from their heart. So I definitely encourage mentors to bring their history. What makes them special? What are their key elements that they bring to this world, and bring those directly into their cohort? And yeah, I love hearing that. It's wonderful, just wonderful.
Thanks.
I think that's very much at the core of who Robin is as a mentor and a master artist. I cannot tell you at level 2 how many of my apprentices have shared her Meet the Master video with the myth of talent, and how much that speaks to people. So have you, Kyle, you haven't done your Meet the Master video yet, have you?
I haven't. It's ahead of me. I just put the word out on my Facebook to my friends who do video to ask, to see who's interested in helping me out. So.
Okay, so I would imagine that if that was definitely part of the path that you wanted to take artistically with your apprentices, where you wanted to really incorporate spirituality into it, that would be a really strong motivator for your Meet the Master video. The more authentic and the more genuine you are about who you are and what is really at the heart of you, I think the more it'll speak to people, and the more you will find people that are your people to be part of your tribe. And somebody that's really good at that is Trey, because he is one of the biggest tribes of anybody I've seen. Everybody knows exactly who he is and what he's about through his work and his personality. It just kind of follows. Nobody really knows who Wes is, though. He just kind of shows up everywhere.
But as long as you gave me an intro,
Great, well said. Other than the West part, which was just dang funny, but that whole thing is definitely well said, because that is part of what is going to create your connections, and those connections are what going to is what. I can't talk today. Don't ask me to talk. It's what's going to change people's lives when you make those connections, and yeah. Anyway.
I really appreciate that, especially since I think faith is just one of those touchy subjects where I'm always careful, and because I work on a college campus, I'm always careful about how I bring it up, and people have a lot of bad experiences, which is really unfortunate. So it's really encouraging to hear that from you guys, and helps me feel more confident, and that really is a central part of it for me. So appreciate that.
Cool. Howdy, Trey. We think Trey's here. He's that dude with goggles. He's pulling his goggles off right now, and it always takes him a long time to pull those goggles off when he gets in a Hangout. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, how's it going?
I think it's going fine.
Good.
So my one word of advice to
Lisa,
you,
we're talking a little bit about... Go ahead, Wes.
well, I was just going to add one more comment to Kyle. If you're going to include, like anything other than just photography in part of your cohort, which I think is an awesome idea, but be it faith or be it any other genre, just make sure you're 100% clear in your invite when you send it out that you're collecting a group of people that have a particular characteristic that you want, because you'd hate to have somebody get in and want to concentrate only on photography and not have other elements
Right, yeah.
So
No,
just be
definitely
super
no
clear.
bait and switch.
And as long as you're good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It just depends. But like for example, I would be very interested in coming and sitting in, and really I don't if I was to associate with a religion, it would probably be Buddhism. I follow a lot of the beliefs and the mentalities of that, but so I think that there would be a lot to be gained to sit in and listen to conversation, and I'm also very interested to hear how you see the connecting lines between the two and how that plays out in your artistry, because
Sure.
that's really what it is. Like, that's very much a part of who you are. And the thing about artists and what we create is that we create from a place of who we are, and that's why it speaks to people. So I think that you would actually be giving permission to other people that might feel that they can't tap into that or talk about that, for risk of offending someone.
Right.
And art should offend people. And one of my favorite quotes says that art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. So, food for thought going forward. So Lisa, tell me a little bit about you and what you shoot and where you see your cohort going.
Okay, so I basically am focusing on landscapes. And actually, you taught me to do what you love and to not deviate. And so, I come from a very active and connected cohort. So, so that's just the kind of thing I want to try to foster, is just, a lot of people, I think, in landscapes too think, no, it's got to be just the way it is, and just to foster being able to play with that stuff and make it art, and just to foster that community where everybody just loves everybody. I love everybody in my cohort, and we have so much fun, and that's just, I think that adds to the overall experience as far as, feeling creative and feeling like you can do whatever you want and feel vulnerable and try things in the cohort. So that's really what I want to try to foster, as well as, getting it all right, not having your horizon lines, diagonal and all that kind of thing. So.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Hi, Peter. You can unmute your mic. This is another guy that just hangs out all the time. We're not really sure who he is or what he does, but we can
Hello, everybody. Well, I got busted earlier. I had to eat something. I was literally like having a crash, like I had to eat, and then I'm on with Ron and Robin, and they totally busted me. They're like, Pete, we can hear you eating your lunch. I'm like, oh no, it's so bad. But I couldn't. It just happened. Like, I was having that low blood sugar thing happen. I had to eat. But anyway, hello everybody. I just saw the Hangout happening. I'm like, Friday afternoon. Let me just jump in. What's going on? What's the occasion?
The occasion is to just get in touch with everybody, because that's what we do best at the Arcanum.
Yay! Cool. Well, I'm just sitting here listening. I'm typing away email. I'm trying to finally get some email done. But I'm just listening in. You guys, am I allowed to lurk and listen, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be good. That way, if we hit anything that you want to sound off on, or give some feedback on, you can just kind of hop in.
Well, and
And
also,
you know, if we get bored with you, we'll kick you out.
that's fine with me. I was going to say, like, please, like, don't let me take a spot from somebody else that wants to get in. So just, I don't want to be like, you know, again, the lurker. So, and I'm happy to answer questions also. So please, I'm going to go mute now, though. I'm going to go mute.
Beauty man. All right. So,
There goes
did
Jess.
we interrupt Lisa, or were you done, Lisa?
Yeah, I was pretty much done, unless there's something else you want to know.
We just lost Jessica.
Okay, we lost Jessica. So
Uh-oh.
we have, let's see, we haven't talked with John yet. Are you? Is that you, John? There? Okay, good.
That's
No,
me.
okay.
Sorry, it's dark.
I'm gonna try and take Jessica's lead, but never as well as she does. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your general photography, and like where you see your cohort going. What's your cohort culture? What, is it laid back? Is it high energy? Is it, kick butt like Jessica's?
I'm in Jessica's cohort, and it will be nothing like that. It will be nothing like her. I think I see my cohort coming together as kind of like this very closed community where people can feel like they can do absolutely anything and say anything and not feel like they're being judged, but that they're helping each other. I do portrait photography. That's where I would be going, but I'm not as concerned about the style as I want people to really feel like open in the group. I teach at a university, and I teach kind of a non-traditional type program, and that's how we run that. We run it where like everybody can make fun of everybody and help each other and be there for each other, but that it's this kind of whatever you say in here doesn't leave this room. We help each other, and that's what I hope to do.
That sounds cool. I have I just thought of this badass question to ask everybody. So I'll start with you, John, since you're here on camera. What did you get out of your time in the Arcanum so far that you want to take into your cohort? What was the best, most awesome thing that you absolutely want to carry through?
That's a tough question. For me, I think, well, for one thing, I think.
Okay, and we lost him. See, it's that question, man. It's that burning question.
I muted him because he didn't have anything good to say.
So, Bob, why don't you, since you're laughing and giggling at that one?
Sure. I guess the biggest thing I got out of the Arcanum was to gain confidence in myself and in my expressions of what my vision is for my photography and my art. I think I was more laid back going into this, and I blossomed a bit throughout the. Well, when you're in Karen Hutton's cohort, you don't have much choice but to make a fool of yourself, if nothing else. So that was just it's been an amazing experience, and the path of the Protege has been amazing as well. So I've felt fulfilled, and I feel that I've developed my skills and certainly developed my self-confidence.
So the question basically is, how will you do that? How will you bring that forward into your cohort?
I am an incredible believer in the power of communication, and I think that to encourage a back and forth amongst my apprentices and myself, I think will help pull people out of their shells if they are in shells, and I think allow them to grow and feel more self-confident in what they're doing.
That sounds fantastic. John, since you thought you were saved by the freeze, do you want to finish what you're saying, or was that really a difficult question for you?
No, I was giving this eloquent answer, and then all of a sudden it just stopped
I know.
on me. So,
that's life, isn't it?
Okay, so my answer to that is I think that what I would bring into the cohort to make things go is organization and structure. I think that people are in this because they want to do it. So you really need somebody there to shuttle them and make sure that they're keeping up and doing things, and kind of have that mentoring and fostering attitude. But I don't think I'm going to like teach them some great amount of thing. I think that they're going to teach themselves some great amount of things. But you have to be there to lead them away on the way to do that. So I think that's kind of what I would get out of our group, that I would take into mine.
That's excellent. All right, so Brian.
The thing I got most out of that is experimentation, and not being afraid to experiment and to, just to attempt new things. As I said earlier to Jessica, I mean, I was in a landscape and wildlife cohort with Martin, and I'm not really in so much. I don't do that so much, and I've grown a little bit out of that as the cohort progressed. But it was very good because that was encouraged by Martin and the rest of the cohort to go into, maybe I want to do street, so I did some photos in street or some abstracts. And it really helped me just to kind of start to develop my style of photography. And I think going into my own cohort, I want to encourage that experimentation. It's like, and say, okay, here are the rules or here are the guidelines of certain aspects of photography. But you know what? Try to break them sometimes, and to see how that goes. And try, if you're not a black and white photographer, try black and white. If you're black and white, try color. Kind of things like that, and just kind of break out a little bit and just try to experiment and try new things, and to create that atmosphere that that's fine. And to go back what Bob and I were talking about with Jessica when we were just the three of us, just to go back, just go and just it doesn't matter your genre. It just I got a good foundation of who you are and what your photography is, or to develop that photography through experimentation and trying to try new things, but keep it that that basic, those little guidelines.
Yeah.
They're important, and
Right.
but to just to play with them, I guess, a bit more.
Awesome.
All right, Robin, put Mel on the spot since she jumped in.
Well, okay, Mel, we have this. This is the ongoing question. You're going to have to unmute yourself. Oh, there you go. We have this ongoing question, but you can go ahead because you haven't had the chance to introduce yourself in this video yet. Just go ahead and say what your general interest is in photography, and then what type of cohort you think you're going to have. Like some people, have like a hard driving, it's fully disciplined, or some people are like focused on technical. What's your cohort going to be like?
All right. Hold on. Am I still giving feedback?
Yep. Oh, no, we can't hear the feedback.
Okay, good deal. Hi, I'm Mel. I teach Photoshop and fun stuff like that at the University of Missouri, which is kind of fun. And I love doing that. My cohort would be more of a post-processing, just enjoying the art of it, taking a photograph and having it become something completely new. And I just want to help people through that. I've been teaching Photoshop for about 7-8 years.
Very cool. So the key question that I've been asking everybody else is, what did you get from being in your own cohort? What did you get out of that time that you're going to bring forward into your cohort? What was your favorite thing, or the best, the most awesome thing that you're going to bring forward to your own cohort?
Definitely a sense of group fun. Just the ability to get together with a bunch of people who have similar interests and have conversations and discussions and move forward with your art and learn new things. Just the community of it. Because I can teach anywhere, but I can't necessarily create a community anywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally got that. So just on a brief aside, Pete, I know you're muted and you can't respond, but we're making. I want you to know we're making a list here of the most awesome things about cohorts. But this is what it happens to be occurring just because I decided this would be a fun question. But we're of the things that make cohorts really, really awesome. We're actually making a list here.
Wait, isn't Peter an apprentice in your cohort, Robin?
What's that?
Isn't Peter an apprentice in your cohort?
He is an apprentice. We should put him on this.
Yeah. So Peter, what is the most amazing thing that you learned that if you were a protege you would take from Robin's cohort to yours?
Oh no.
Oh, that's actually really it's really easy. I talked about this with Robin, which was my path, my learning path. Even though I had this idea of what I wanted to do and what my goals were, and they were very straightforward. I mean, I documented them. We document all the stuff in Robin's cohort. You have to every time you post, you have to put your goals in, which is a great way to affirm what your intent is. So everything in Robin's cohort is very intentional, I would say. But what was amazing was that by doing that and then pursuing it, it opens up other venues that became even more interesting to me than my original goal. And that becomes the ability to let that happen and to then pursue it. I think it really got me interested. And so for me, when I was younger, I did a lot of illustration, a lot of pencil drawing and drawing of comic book characters and, Dungeons and Dragons stuff and all that kind of crazy stuff. And totally lost it. And photography was my way to get back into a creative outlet. But then as I started doing more photography and working in the cohort and starting to play more with composites, I realized I wanted to actually do even more. I was working with my Wacom tablet, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to get back to illustration. So then I started creating things from scratch in Photoshop that are horrible, so bad. But it totally sucked me in. And so it's that, I guess, the curiosity and letting yourself go with the flow, right? Don't be so dogmatic about, I set a goal and I have to hit that goal before I do anything else. Don't do that. And so I don't know how I would. The good question is, how do you then create that culture, right? And I don't have a good answer for that. But that for me is one of the most dramatic things that's happened to me so far.
I know the answer to that. Oh, okay, never mind.
Question. Let me ask a question though. And we can, like Robin says, we'll put a bookmark in that for a second. But I'm going to put a bookmark in this question, which is. People talk about the community. I think it's really important. I want to understand why community here is working better, because you all have the opportunity to join community on Google Plus or Facebook or any of these things. So why is this working? Why does community here help you with these remarkable outcomes? That it's like magic. I don't really understand why it's working.
You see that it's working, you just haven't figured out the sleight of hand yet.
It's what do they say? Anyway, it's like something about technology. Anything substantially sophisticated technology looks like magic to everybody else, right? But anyway, I know it's not magic. Please, it's magic from the masters and the people making the community, the culture, right? But I want details.
I have an idea about that, though, Peter. Yeah. Why it's different here is because number one, it's limited.
Okay.
If you just go, because if you go into, say, the landscape community or any of the other communities on Google Plus, there are, unlimited number of people there, and they're not really connected by anything. Where we have is more of a closed community, where there's a master who's who's put some structure there, and it's limited to just those apprentices in that cohort, and so there's more of a relationship there than just being in some community where you post something once in a while and there's no structure and there's no real leadership and there's no real direction, So I think that's part of it, and having that common goal and everybody's working on the same kind of levels and the same kind of stuff bonds you more than if you just, join some random community and throw a picture up once in a while. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that goes back to one of the stepping stones in each of the mantras that you guys have been encountering as you move up. there is no significant learning that occurs without a significant relationship.
Exactly.
You know, and that is what you guys are getting. It's not only the relationship to the master, but also the relationship to the other apprentices. So we come from this mentality of, I want to be successful, I want to excel in my art, I want to excel in my business, and it's very I-oriented. And when you get into this community, suddenly everybody is as invested in everybody else's growth and success as they are in their own. So it no longer becomes a focus on moving fast, but moving far and moving together. And I think that that's really essential. That being said, I'm going to put all of you on the spot, but I'm going to give you guys until the end of the Hangout, because I'm going to challenge you to rethink your answers to Robin's question. And here's why. Here's what I heard. My community is going to be a lot of fun. My community is going to be all about exploring our art and ourselves. My community is going to be very open-minded about everybody feeling safe. Nobody is going to, there aren't any masters in here that's going, well, oh, well then if you don't want a fun community, you want to come to mine, because mine's going to be really boring. And mine's going to be really closed-minded, and mine's going to be really judgmental, and mine's going to be really mean to you and unsafe for you. So those are all generic answers that every single one of you could say, that if I asked you a question and said, are you planning on making your community fun? If you say no, chances are your Vanguard's not going to go really well at Stepping Stone 9. You know, if I say, are you going to be open-minded and encouraging, and you say no, we're going to go, maybe you're not quite getting what we're doing here. Okay? So the only one that I heard that was really unique was actually Kyle, and he said, I'm really thinking about having an element of spirituality included in the path. That's totally different than what I could get if I was in every other one of your cohorts. Do you see how he just set himself apart individually and offered something that everyone couldn't get with anyone else? So everybody's right. All of your answers were correct. That's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for community. We're looking for significant relationships. We're looking for an intimate and safe learning environment. We're looking for a place that everyone feels okay exploring and connecting and being vulnerable, because we're artists. Everything we do, we pour our hearts and souls into our work. It's so personal all the time, which is why we take it personally, and we're such moody artists when people critique our work. So there has to be that element of trust. So every single one of you is dead on. So your goal is, for the end of the conversation before we hang up, I want to know what I'm going to get if I join your cohort that's going to set you apart from everybody else. Does that make sense? That's what we're looking for. And even if you don't have it here, it's okay to pass today because it's an hour, but this is definitely something that you should very heavily be thinking about before you come to your Vanguard with your masters, because if you don't have a good answer for that, there's no reason for us to pick you up. There's a ton of really talented people. There's a ton of great educators. There's a ton of very capable people. You guys would not be in the path of the Protege, but know that the path of the Protege is just us going, these are what we think is going to be the good crop. These are the people that we can see leading the charge and being the people at the door to welcome the next generation into the arcanum. But we're not accepting everyone, okay? So we're looking for you to go, no, 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 I have something to offer that if you don't pick me, and if you don't have me join the community, then your community will be lacking this. Does that make sense?
It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous, Jessica.
Okay,
you know,
no
one
pressure.
of the things that, well, yeah, the pressure is on. One of the things that, the reason I'm on the path that I've been on for close to 10 years now is I got this communication from somebody one day. Oh, you're an artist. I wish I could do that. And you could feel the tears welling up in the back of their, you know, the throat kind of closing up a little bit, and you could feel how much of a significant loss this was in their life, and I could feel that person. And I remembered how I felt when I was young, and my father basically took that away from me by saying, well, you know, you're not that great, Robin, so do something else. So the thing that I take from that, and this is what I do with why I'm doing what I'm doing, is I don't want anybody to have to feel that way. I want to take that away from everybody that I encounter. I want to take it away from the world. That's my big, huge goal, but I'll settle with whomever comes crosses my path. And basically the bottom line, I think, of what Jess is saying, and Jess, I love you. I mean,
It's mutual.
I'm in love
It's so
with you.
mutual.
It was so great. Is to make it personal. And it's so easy with every single business to just say, I'm selling a product, and I'm just going to get a product out there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the more you make it personal, the more you will grow, you will continue to grow, you will actually attain your level 30, 40, 50, etc. You will achieve that because you're making it extremely personal, that it's still, being a master is still a part of your path. Yeah, it doesn't end with, okay, I upped my skills, now I'm going to try and pass it on, and doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work well that way because you'll suffer. You will suffer in the long run as a master. You'll feel overworked. You'll feel pulled on way too much. There's going to be some days I will tell you that you're not going to want to have a hangout with anybody, but you're going to have an apprentice who needs to have a hangout. It's just like the only time they can do it, or it's like 6 a.m. But it's all I've got, They're on the other side of the world, okay? And there has to be something inside of you that is just so motivated to have the people in your cohort have what you have. Does that make sense? That's how I train that's how I start with my mentorship program, is I just start, what do you have? What do you want others to have? And it starts them on the path on being able to figure out how to create a mentorship. And it's the same thing with your cohorts. What do you have that you desperately want others to have because you no longer suffer from not having it?
What do you have that you desperately want others to have? Everybody now has the assignment to answer that question.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Okay, so, and Lisa, did we get yours too, the answer to that question?
Which question? There's like too many questions out there.
Yeah, so sorry about the question was, what, and now that Jessica gave you the prep, you have to come up with a better answer than everybody else.
Right on the spot, too.
Yeah, but you are strong. I know you are strong. So, okay, the question was, what was the best thing that you got from your cohort, the absolutely life-changing thing that you got from your cohort that you're going to bring forward into your own cohort?
Wow. So picking one is really difficult, just so you know. But for me, I think it was finding things within myself that I did not know were there.
How would you do that? How would you help somebody get to that point?
By listening and just watching. And like even in my current cohort, I may not comment on everything because I'm at work or I'm in the middle of 6 other things at the same time, but there's not one post that I don't see. I know what's going on with every single person in my cohort. I know what they're doing, I know where they've been, I see all of their work, and I try to really pay attention to that kind of stuff. And when you watch and you listen, you begin to understand somebody, and then you get to a place where maybe you're seeing something in them that they're not seeing in themselves. And I think that's how it's done. I mean, otherwise there's no way to actually do it. You have to pay attention. You have to be able to look at people and see what they're doing and see what they're saying, and sometimes what they're not saying, and then take those clues and show them what it is that they're missing.
Fabulous.
I agree.
I think you got that answer right.
Yeah.
I think that you can take what Lisa said in answer to Pete's question, why is the Arcanum working where many Google Plus communities are not? And one of the mantras of significant learning does not happen without a significant relationship. If you look at a traditional college environment, I know I personally got so much more out of small classes instead of the lecture hall experience, because the lecture hall experience is just a one-way direction of somebody spouting facts at you or opinions at you and so forth. Whereas if you're in a smaller group, everyone monitors everybody else. Not in the creepy sense, but you see when people are faltering. You see when people need to be motivated. You see when people are having troubles. And I think in the smaller environment, which is 20 people plus a master at the most, and my cohort was actually only 15 plus a master. We still had a couple people drop out because it just clearly wasn't what they wanted. And I think if you go back to the lecture hall analogy of a couple people dropped out there, you're not going to miss them. You're not going to know what's going on with them. But in a small group, if someone's having troubles and still wants to participate but's having difficulties doing so, other people can lift them up.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's deviate just temporarily away from more of the deeper meditative side of being a master, and let's talk a little bit about logistics. How are you guys doing? Where are you guys confused? What do you need help with on the path? If none of you answer, you should all be at level 9 by now.
I have a question. I'm not sure how to move on, really. For example, I'm at level stone 4, and I'm just waiting for an advising master.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if do I take charge and go on to the next stone and prepare for my mini critiques and ask people if I want to, or do I stay and be patient and wait? I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to be presumptuous or if I'm not going to just looked at just sitting back and just waiting. I'm not sure how to go about this whole structure.
I will tell you one thing, and this is the post that I put in that just seemed a little bit too harsh to everybody, and I really apologize for that. But really, the bottom line is, if you're a master, be a master. All right? If you have to plus mention Jess or me or Ron or somebody, anybody, find the master list and go plus mentioning your way through masters until you get somebody, then do it. Take charge. Say, I'm getting this done and I want it done now, and I know that there is definitely a sense of respect, regard for the whole system, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want anybody to kick me out of here if I'm too forceful. But the truth is you're not going to hurt anybody. We're all physically away from you, so you can charge in like a bull, and you really, really won't hurt anybody. And one thing is for sure, if I end up as your advising master, I will see you as a go-getter, and I care more about go-getters than people are just sort of waiting around. And the reason why I say this is not because I just need everybody to just be super dynamic. It's that when you get into running a cohort and you are trying to maintain a connection with 20 people, it gets rough. And if you're not willing to just go, I'm going to make a decision here and say this is where it needs to go. So you get an apprentice, you have a challenge that's gonna break open a few blocks for quite a few people, and you get one person that says, I can't do it, it's too much. You got to figure out a way how to do it soft and hard at the same time, so you can push them through and get them over that hump, and they'll come out of it, they'll be crying with joy, and a few bruises, but they'll be like thanking you that you had that much force, personal, positive force. So you have an intention and you have personal, positive force, and you just make it happen. So that's basically what the advice that I give to everybody going through the path of the protege is: come at it with this intention. It is going to happen. Just like you see when you invite somebody, the minute you invite them, I'm going to get this person through level 20. You dig? You know,
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing, and I will do whatever it takes. And I've written emails. I've had, of course, you know, it's kind of standard. People write and they say, "Oh, my life has just gotten too busy. I'm going to leave." And then I come up with stuff. I pull out their goals. I say, "Okay, what does this that you want to do now have to do with that you spoke from your heart at that time?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so right." And they figure out a way. So you have to come up with these ways. You have to think on your feet. You have to think outside of the box, and the box is the path of the protege. So how are you going to think outside that box and make yourself a master?
I'm gonna interject here because actually Ollie asked me to touch on this from the perspective of the existing masters too, and I'm gonna take partial responsibility that we didn't do this sooner and really outlay what the guides are. So there's a couple of things. One, and Peter, feel free to jump in because you and I were chatting about this as well last time. Your advising master is essentially your guidance counselor, or a teacher that you would be shadowing under if you were studying to teach in any other kind of education institution. So, but they are someone that believes that you should be a master. They're really the first person. When your master in your cohort said, "I think you can be a master," your advising master is the person that stood up and said, "I second the motion." So for a lot of you, because it's different, we don't know you. You know, I know John because I just spent 20 levels with him. I haven't spent a lot of time with any of you except for in the path of the protege. You know, being a master means you've got 20 people that you're responsible for that have pretty much unlimited access to you 24/7. You know, so that's plenty for us to do. And I pick up on maybe one or two people from every other cohort, and like Robin said, they're the go-getters. They're the people that are shining, and most of those people that I paid attention to are now in the path of the protege. Are we starting to see a pattern here? So if you want an advising master to pick you up and you're saying, you know, should I just be presumptuous and keep moving forward? No, you shouldn't move forward to the next level. You should stand up and make somebody take notice of you. Show us why you deserve to be here. These are really high ranks. You know, I'm really flattered when I start looking around and see that Trey got someone like Robin on board and then went, "Hey, Jess, you want to come hang out because we think you're the same thing." I'm like, really? You know, when he called me originally and was like, "Hey, I want to have a meeting," I thought it was somebody messing with me. I was like, "Yeah, you're Trey Radcliffe." Yeah. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, so keep in mind, and it's so funny because like we all get starstruck and kind of awe-inspired by the company that we're in, and all these people that I have been following for years that are now my fellow masters, they're all so humble and so friendly and so willing to help if you ask. And the problem is that a lot of us are still struggling, especially as artists, and being beaten over the head with the starving artist cliche and how you'll never make it and you'll never do it and get a real job. And from the time that you're children, because all of the focus is on financially providing for yourself and your family and being a contributing member of society, and you can't do that as an artist. You can, it's a lot freaking harder. So we have this fear of rejection, so we go, I'll just put my hand up, I'm ready for, you know, whatever. I'm ready for an advising master, I'm ready for this opportunity, I'm ready for this job, I'm ready for the chance for this, and then we don't really point out, because if you go to someone and you tag Peter or you tag Robin or you tag any of the masters and go, "Hey, would you be a master?" and they don't respond or they say no, then you go, "Oh, it must be, is it me? Do I, like," you know? And so it's that rejection thing. But let me just tell you, like, even if you went, one, everybody's too nice and nobody's going to say no. But even if you went to Robin right now and said, "Hey, will you be my advising master?" and she said, "Look, I'm running my full cohort and I'm the master to all of these people and I'm helping out in the path of the protege, plus the 95,000 things I do behind the scenes that nobody knows. I just can't take on anyone else." What happened? You were exactly where you were before you asked her in the first place. So there's nothing lost. There can only be something gained. And if you don't have the ability to fight for yourself, how can we, as the people that are deciding to pull you in and put people in your cohorts, how can we believe that you're going to fight for 20 other people if you're not even willing to fight for yourself and your own chance? Does that make sense?
Love it.
So, yeah, you know, tag every single master in there and say that you want them. What they should be doing for you. One, when you get an advising master, you should also ask for an invite into their cohort and see how they're running things. It'll be a good, fresh perspective, and it's nice for you to go in where all of the other apprentices don't and haven't viewed you as an apprentice and a colleague, because it's different kind of stature. You know, it's different to come in as an apprentice and then all of a sudden go, by the way, now I'm a protege, when they leveled up with you. I've seen it with my own apprentices. The new cohort that I have of younger in the sense of newer in the arcanum, they react totally differently to the proteges in my community than the people that were alongside them and leveling up with them, just because they have a preconceived perspective and relationship, and you know, it's a different thing. So it's nice for you to be able to go into a new community. Your advising masters can also give you tasks so you can help out in their community, just like you're supposedly helping out in your communities with your current masters as well. The advising master basically sees you through, and they're a point of contact. So you can ask questions in the Path of the Protege community. You can contact me. You can contact Peter. You can contact Robin. You know, can I just tell you that Peter has 8 million things going on at any time, and he responds to every message that I send him, usually within 15 to 20 minutes. That being said, he would really appreciate it if you need something about the Path of the Protege, if you message me first, and if I don't have the answer, then I will go to him, or you can go to him, and we can move up the chain, because he likes it when I make less work for him, not more. And the same thing goes, like, you know, that's also really helpful for you guys. Like, we've had a couple of, and I tell them this too, and you'll start to do it with your apprentices. If the answer is available to them, or is available to you, show me that you're making the effort to find it before you come bug me. Because that just denotes laziness, which is not a quality that we have on the list of masters. The only one that gets away with it is Trey. Everybody else has to actually work. Does that make sense? Are you with me?
Are you cool with that? I mean, does it seem, you know, like a good way to go, or are some of you sitting there going, well, no,
Well, now they're thinking your post sounded really tame, and I'm the mean one.
Everybody knows that you kick butt, Jessica, but in such a good way, because you really you make things happen, which is really what it's all about, you know. And it's never in a bad way. I don't think you make anybody feel bad.
Yeah.
You're like my favorite kind of butt kicker.
Is there a list, besides going through the Grand Library and looking at the Meet the Masters videos, is there a list of current active masters? Because I know some of them have dropped out or left.
That's a really good question.
So I don't know who to contact. Really.
Brian, your statement is correct. The best way to do it is just to go to the website, thearcanum.com, and look at Meet the Masters, right? I'll put the link in here. And there are 2 exceptions to that. There are only 2 people that have not created their Meet the Master video. One of them is with us here today. Shiv Verma. The other will not believe it when I tell you this, but the other is none other than Ron Clifford.
Oh!
You guys can all tease him about that now.
I'm in good company.
Ron Clifford!
Oh. Yes. And so
that actually cracks me up. Our fast track master.
When I tell him this, he just says, you know, Pete, the cobbler's children go barefoot, right? That whole thing. But anyway, so Brian, that's the best way to do that, I would say. That we keep that up to date.
Okay.
Or you can too, if you on the Path of the Protege community page, if you click where the photo is, where it says 51 members, anybody there that you know is not a protege, that's a master.
That's a master.
So that's a good place to start.
But that's a good idea. Maybe we'll just list it. And this is something that maybe Peter can help me out with, because I've posted it a couple of times, and maybe Robin can too, but there's quite a few masters that are not in the Path of the Protege community yet. So we have to work on that as well. But you know, one of the things that you're looking for is you're not just looking for a master that wants to sponsor you, you're also looking for a master that you want to be sponsored by. So I would be looking in the critiques in the library and looking for someone that you find yourself sitting at the computer going like this with. Because if everything they're saying is resonating with you, that's a really good candidate for who you should be studying under. Because different personalities fit. Like, you know, John was joking and said, I learned everything I don't want in my cohort by being in dresses. You know, but him and I actually, if you watch one of our critiques, I think it was level 9, and we were talking over each other, and I went, no, I am the master, and you will sit and you will listen, and he went, alpha personalities, because we totally are. We're very similar in that way, and it's all good fun. So, you know, if there's certain masters that you're talking to and you're going, oh, well, after that post, I definitely don't want Robin. She's way too mean. And that Jess girl, she never shuts up. So maybe I'll go talk to, you know, Shiv, because he's kind of quiet like me, and I'll just, you know, he seems way nicer than those guys. You know, but also looking at potential masters that are teaching the same kind of things that you want to focus on in your cohort. That would be really helpful. And the same advice goes for the masters that are going to sit in and watch this afterwards. When you're looking for apprentices and proteges to sponsor, you're looking for ones that you feel that you can help, whether it's because they're in the same genre and focusing on the same educational core in what they want to build their cohort around, or because they have similar personalities and you're kind of getting a feel of a more rhythmic mentoring style that's going to fit with yours, that you feel like you have something to offer them. But, you know, it's a relationship. You know, it's the same way that you guys put your, you know, your applications in, and then we sent you an invite, and it was like asking out that person that you have a crush on in school, and then we sat for 7 days and waited for you to decide whether or not you were going to check mark yes or no and say, yeah, I like you too. You know, so it's the same thing, but you know, just look for somebody that resonates. That's the best advice I have for picking an advising master, and don't be shy about reaching out and, you know, plus wanting them or messaging them privately and just going, hey, you know, I need an advising master. I'm looking for someone to study under. Can you please pick me up? Sound good?
Yeah, it's excellent, Jess.
Okay. So as far as the advising masters, Robin, what do you think makes a good advising master?
What makes a good advising master? They give good advice. I actually had something that came up in my mind, and so I would love to say it right now, and then I'll go on to that. This is the thing that I think about all the time. I'm a big picture looker. I look at the big picture. I look at something that one of my apprentices is doing, and I see, is this going to contribute to their bigger picture? And, you know, if I feel that they're fooling themselves or they're lying to themselves and they're, you know, in a puddle of flowers because they can't confront what they really, really want to do, which is go out and shoot wildlife out in the wild, you know, I will push. Okay, so big picture on the Arcanum is this, and I guess this is part of what sponsored maybe a little bit of my force in that post that I made at the Path of the Protege. But the way this is going to work, you can't just like go in, get a cohort, get a bunch of people that are willing to pay you some money so that you can help them and have a great time in a community. It isn't going to work unless you are a strong master, unless you can give these people epic wins in their life and a reason for continuing on, and unless you can inspire them to mastery themselves, to continue on and carry the torch, as it were. I hate using that metaphor, but so come at it from that viewpoint. As you are going through the Path of the Protege, as you're thinking about your cohort, and what you want to do with them, you're thinking about not just this group of people, you're thinking about, well, gosh, it's really the most selfish thing that you can do, that the survival of the arcanum. Because if it survives the whole big thing, you survive as a part of the arcanum. So I just want to kind of plant that little seed. And, I don't expect miracles from everybody right here, right now, at this moment, but I want to plant that seed so you get that you won't do anything in this whole great, grand game that is the arcanum, wonderful game that it is, unless you're looking at the big picture at all times and thinking about, is this person, when they come out of my cohort, are they going to go, wow, what a ride, that was awesome? Or are they going to go, yeah, I don't know if the arcanum was all that great, and I think I'll make a post about it, and, those kinds of things, they just sort of filter out there, and they just sort of, mess things up. So you really want to think in terms of the way you create your cohorts, etc., that you're really looking to give people big wins in their life, at least their photographic life. I'm not suggesting that you have to solve all the rest of this stuff, but sometimes that handles itself too when you have a good cohort. Anyway, okay. So, what makes a good advising master? I don't know exactly what to say to this particular group. What I might tell the masters might be something else, but what I gave to Bob was essentially, I'm always looking at Bob. Bob Young is right here in the cohort, okay? And I'm saying, okay, how is he commenting in my community? How is he operating in a community? What are his... I do look at the tutorials. I do look at the critiques. I'm looking at manner, style. Is he really focused on the other person, or is he more worried about giving a critique? And that happens. Like the first couple ones you do, it's actually really kind of nerve-wracking because you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to say something wrong? But after a while, after you do them after a while, it gets more comfortable. So I'm kind of looking at that comfort factor. Are you comfortable with handling and moving people around? Because when you have a cohort, it's herding cats. Let's face it, it is. So are you comfortable with doing it? Are you comfortable with actually picking them up and moving them over to another spot with gentle hands?
And
saying, yeah,
not
you got
gentle hands.
Well, Jessica's not gentle hands, but I've got my cat picking up skills pretty good now. I hope. I think my cohort.
I do too. It's just right by the scruff of the neck.
Yeah, that's true. She does the teeth and the scruff of the neck thing, but she's still pretty gentle. Anyway, she drools on him a little bit though. Anyway, so and then Bob asked me for some help, and so we had a hangout. So I think a good advising master would be willing to do a hangout or two with the person that they're advising, and just let them pick your brain. That's basically what we did. I also when Bob first entered my cohort, I said, hey, guys, I want you to meet Bob Young. He's in the path of the protege, and I really need your feedback here. Can you let Bob know what you think it makes an ideal cohort? And so I think, an advising master comes up with creative ideas in terms of figuring out where that person is at and pulling out the best in them, which is really all we're doing in the arcanum anyway. This, we're looking at individuals that we're around, and we're trying to figure out ways to pull out the very best of them.
So, Robin, I have a little suggestion here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, somebody who is in the path of the protege, maybe it's time that when they're ready to have a master become their advisor, is to actually do a little hangout and invite 4 or 5 masters. And in that hangout, they become the interviewer and the masters become the interviewee. And in the process, they get a relationship and a connection with one or maybe more. And that process then lends itself into the selection of, here's somebody who I connected with during that hangout. We share the same concepts, we share the same ideas, and that really could evolve into a very cohesive relationship. And the advisory capacity then becomes predetermined through that interview process.
It's an interesting idea.
Great
I don't know
theory.
how much. It's sometimes hard
Yeah,
coordinating a bunch of masters together. Sorry, Jessica.
great
Go ahead.
in theory. You and I are on the same page. It's great in theory. It sounds beautiful in a utopian society, but the masters are busy with their own apprentices and their own cohorts. Most of us have side jobs like running the Path of the Protege and building Sphere 2, and that's aside from actually running our studios and having home lives. Trying to get 4 and 5 masters to get on the same page, hang out in a hangout together, I think is asking a little bit much and would actually deter them. And we're already having a problem where apprentices and proteges are asking for advising masters and going unanswered, which is actually going to bring me back to my previous point of figuring out what the answer to your question is of why is my cohort different from every other cohort. That would definitely be something I'd be looking at while I'm looking for an advising master, is making sure I've answered that question. Because I've seen a couple of you go in and go, hey, I did everything I was supposed to do, and I'm at this level now where I'm able to pick up an advising master, and so I'm ready. I would like an advising master, please. And that's it. And that's great, but that's not a lot of motivation for the advising master to pick you up. Because really, and Peter brought up a good point in the chat, really, when your house master, the cohort that you're in as an apprentice, recommends you, they're putting their reputation on the line for you. Because if you guys F it up, guess who the headmasters are going to come to and go, why did you recommend this person? It's us. And with those of us that are in the Path of the Protege community, now it's my job and it's Robin's job, and we're kind of keeping an eye on you all the way through and going, yeah, we absolutely see why they got recommended to be a protege, and this is where their strengths are, and this is where maybe we need to give them a little push and guidance. So really, when you say I want an advising master, you're asking another master that hasn't worked with you and hasn't built a relationship and doesn't know any of your strengths to just pick you up. Give them a reason to, Give them something to hold on to that goes, absolutely, I will stake my reputation on that, because that's exactly what you're asking them to do. And then from there, one of the other things that Peter and I were talking about was the possibility that as you move up, before you do your Vanguard at level 9, rather than picking potential apprentices, I think you're going to do that in the onboarding, and we're going to amend that level. But you're going to get a chance to sit in your active cohort and your advising master cohort and basically student teach for a week, where the master is going to sit back and not really do anything except for observe and come back with a report. And it'll be a nice little break for them, provided that you do it well and they don't have to come in and herd the cats for you. But just to really see if you're ready, because if you can run it for a week and you can do, you can do hangouts and you can level people up unofficially and you can handle all of that, then we think that you guys are ready to come in and sit in front of a Vanguard, and then we'll have the advising master and the house master in there to go, this is how they did and this is where you may still need work. So that's something to think about. What do you think on that, Robin? Because you weren't there for that conversation.
So sorry, but Pete was throwing ideas at me, and I apologize that I actually wasn't not paying attention to the last thing that you said. You know that thing in classroom where they're like, and you, Mr. John.
Yeah, I totally saw it on your face. You were like,
I don't know, I was like so texting.
No, just having heard what you just said, I think I agree completely. I think that's perfect the way you just stated it. And it really sort of lends itself to the responsibility, because that's the responsibility you will have thereafter. I mean, if you can't do it for a week, how are you going to do it for months?
Yeah,
that's exactly.
So
you just said it right there, Chief.
Yeah. So one of the things that Peter and I were talking about, the possibility of better preparing them was that when they got to Stone 8 and Stone 9, before they had their Vanguard hangout, they would actually be essentially a stand-in teacher, student teacher in both their current cohort and their advising master's cohort for 1 week, where they would basically run everything.
This is actually what, because I had mentioned this to Peter a short while ago. I had a few ideas of ways to really one, be able to evaluate an apprentice better, a protege better, but also for the protege to be able to evaluate, what that's like. I will tell you, I have one of my gals, one of my apprentices, she was like, I'd love to be a master, and I'm like, cool, you have some good skills, you're a wonderful human being, but oh my gosh, I don't know if you really get what this is like. And so I don't know if you folks know that I run that G+ mentorship program for photographers. It's a free program that I started on Google+ to help out the Google+ photo community. We all give to each other basically. And I said, tell you what, you ought to run a free mentorship. You can make it like 4 or 6 weeks long. It doesn't have to be very long, but you should run a mentorship. And she was like, okay. I said, I just want you to build the muscles. I just want you to know what it feels like to be, responsible for a large group of people and have to keep all, your attention on this. Anyway, she went ahead, she dove in, she did it, and she says, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that, because I really get it now. And she's actually came out of it with a lot more than that in terms of feeling her own certainty grow, et cetera, et cetera. And if I had my way, I'd have take every protege and say, no, you're going to go do a mentorship for 4 weeks. Because it really does give you that kind of feel of what it's like to, it kind of is like a never-ending thing. You don't get a break. It just keeps going on, and you are responsible for these people because you promised that you were going to do it. So you got to do it. Okay, so 1 week is not enough. And I really love the idea.
Well, it would be 2, because they'd be doing 1 for each master.
It's not enough.
My only concern with my only concern with them doing it longer is that the amount of proteges we have and the amount of that overlap between how many are coming from a certain house or how many you have as an advising master, you would never be teaching your own cohort at that point.
Okay.
So,
just so you know,
but I'm also totally... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I had my way with the Path of the Protege, it would be a matter of they are already mastering in their own present cohort during the entire time they're on the Path of the Protege. In other words, they are co-master there during that entire time. It really gives you a much better feel, because when you get into doing this, it is so totally different than being on the outside. And there's going to be times when you're just going to be kind of tired and exhausted and whatever from trying to keep up your own life and your own job and have all of these apprentices. And a couple weeks is not enough evaluation time. I'm saying this for the proteges. I'm not saying this for the masters so much. I'm saying this for you guys. You understand that part of the reason why I came in like a ball into that Path of the Protege was because you are going to suffer if you are not really well prepared. If you don't have that, the attitude that a lot of us masters presently have, you're going to suffer in the process, and I don't want you to suffer. I want you to have, at the end of your day, oh my gosh, I can't believe what an awesome day I had in my cohort today because this and this and this happened. And so it's really, really important to me that you guys have everything that you need before you leave the Path of the Protege, that you are making days just like that for yourself. So if I had my way, and I mean, understand that I've been training mentors for a couple years now. If I had my way, I'd give you a much longer runway just at least that you're co-mastering in your own cohort for at least the full amount of time that you are on the path of the protege, and genuinely co-mastering.
Okay, so I think that you guys are actually in a unique position to possess a lot of wisdom, because Robin and I were both brought in as masters. Like, we got a call and we started as masters, and we got fast-tracked through the first 20 levels so we would know what it was like, but it's a different experience. So I'm going to actually turn it around, because we're giving, you know, our thoughts and our advice from our perspective. What do you guys feel that you need to be better prepared to start your own cohorts and be a master? What do you feel is lacking? What do you wish there was more of right now? One at a time, one at a time.
I'll say something. I love the idea about offering a mentorship ahead of time. And so I'm like writing down furiously here, saying I'd love to do that. And so I guess I have a question with that too. Mm-hmm. It had said that this is expected to be done in a 90-day period. If we're coming to the end of that 90-day period, but we're interested in doing this mentorship, how does that work? How limited is that 90-day period of doing of the path of the protege? Is there room for that to happen?
You'll certainly have my good graces if I see you taking charge and saying, you know what, I really want to get a feel for this, of running a community, a group of people in a community. I want to get a feel for it first, and I want to do like a 4-week mentorship. I certainly would feel very, very compelled to give you that leeway. Okay. We do want to get people in the, you know, people who are waiting, just like you guys were waiting for an invitation. We do want to get, you know, masters to them, but I also want you to be the strongest master that you can be. Understand that the G+ mentorship program for photographers is not affiliated with the Arcanum. It is simply, something I've been doing for a very, very long time, so that people could give back what they've been given.
So,
yeah.
Robin, I'm not entirely familiar with your mentorship program. Is it basically just photographers mentoring other photographers?
That's all it is. It's a free program. I began it, well, I was taken on by Randy. Randy couldn't do it. Randy J. Bronny couldn't do it anymore, and so I ended up, because I was one of the people that loved mentoring, you know, taking it over, and Ron and another gal at the time, and it's just blossomed because I do what's called pay it forward. Basically, you take people who want to learn more, you know, because you learn more when you get out there and you try and help others with it. So I just kind of take people from the last one and say, you know, it's time for you to do a mentorship, that kind of thing.
Okay, so would it be possible for proteges to elect to mentor at the beginning of the path of the protege, and would they be able to get involved in your program outside of the Arcanum? And maybe,
if they wanted to, absolutely. I would say, okay, you know, like a 4-week program. That's about probably the lowest you could go in terms of time commitment. But really to be able to develop a program and get the feel of what it's like to be, you know, handle a large group. But like,
I love that idea. I think I think that might be worth a discussion with Peter about having them start a community on Google with other photographers at the beginning, and they have to run it until they do their Vanguard meeting.
Yeah, they would have our assistance, because I have what's a program called Mentorship for Mentors, and so it tells you how to develop your own, you know, all your own curriculum, that kind of thing. It gives you the posts that you post out to people and say, hi, I'm going to do this mentorship and sign up here. And it's like handing you, if I had a physical pack, I could hand you. That's basically what I do.
Okay.
So yeah.
I love the idea of that. Let's have a conversation with Peter about that, and at least offer it as an option. Because I got to tell you, the people that take that option, I would be more inclined to immediately take seriously, as opposed to. We were talking about this the other day. We did like a triage hangout with some of the masters where we were talking about, and you guys have probably seen this, where like you guys are in the honeymoon period when you first came in as apprentices, and we were in all the time, and you were in all the time, and everybody was on the chat at 3 o'clock in the morning their time because they just wanted to know what their new friends were saying. And then as you got up, it kind of slowed down, and we lost a little bit of that, and the momentum died, and the commenting died. I fully expect there to be a little bit with that because, you know, it's flattering to be asked by your masters or recommended by your masters to be a protege. You know, really, there are hundreds. Actually, I'm pretty sure there are thousands of people waiting in the antechamber to get picked up as an apprentice. You guys were some of the only ones that got an invitation to come join us. And out of every one of those elite that got invited to come join us, you guys were the ones that we looked at and said, these guys not only have something special enough that we want to pick them up as the first people in the Arcanum, but we also want them to be the next people to welcome the next group into the Arcanum and teach them. And that's really, I cannot stress the importance enough. As you know, they're opening up Sphere 2, and that's exciting. I'm not in any hurry to jump to the next level because I just want you guys to appreciate that, like, from level 0 to 20, you are the face of the Arcanum. You are the first person that they have interaction with. They will base their feelings, their opinions, their growth, everything that is to be gained from the Arcanum based off of what you offer them. And that's it. And it doesn't matter if we have Robin at Sphere 2 or if we have amazing, you know, programs and people at Sphere 3, 4, and 5, because if they don't love the experience coming in the first 20 levels with you, they'll never make it up that high, no matter what the benefits are. You know? And so basically what we're saying is as we're moving up, we're going up to the higher levels, and we're looking back and we're going, who do we see that has the most potential to be able to open the doors and invite these people in and have them be excited and have them grow and have them, you know, start where they are and cross as much distance between where they are and where they want to be, so that when they get to level 20, they're so bonded to the Arcanum and to their own success and their own growth and their own potential that they want to keep studying and come along with us to the higher levels. I think that there is a lot more pride to be taken in being the teachers at level 0 to 20 than there even is to be at Sphere 5 or Sphere 6. I just want to stress the importance of that because there's been, you know, there's been conversation with the other masters of them being in a hurry to jump up to Sphere 2, and it's another form of accomplishment. It's like having an associate's degree and then a bachelor's degree and then a master's degree. It's something else that speaks to your success, and it does. But ground zero is the most important because if they don't have a good experience there, they're not going to go up to the higher spheres. Right. And really what we're doing is we're looking at you guys and saying out of everyone possible, these are the people that we want to have greet them because these are the people that we trust to take them to the point that we need them to get to so that we can study higher spheres with them. Like, you should all be really proud that you're in the path of the protege. I don't know a higher compliment to pay you as artists than to say that we think that you can inspire other artists to find their own voice.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely, wholeheartedly. I have to step out, but I just want to say before I go is that I don't want anyone who's watching this down the road to feel like they have to put in a mentorship in the G+ mentorship program. You'd be doing it for free. So I don't want anyone to feel like they have to, that all their mastery in the Arcanum hinges on that or anything like that, just because we brought it up, all right? Just know that if you want to do it because you want to get a feel for running a community and you want to get a better idea about what you're going to pass on to people and that kind of thing. It's really good for that, but that's the only reason you should do it. Do not feel like that it, your advancement in the path of protege is hinging on doing something like that. Just want to make
absolutely. You guys don't have to do that. We also accept bribes in the form of money, alcohol, and Tim Tams.
Bye, everybody. It was so great to meet you all.
Bye, Robin. Thanks for hanging
Robin.
out. How are you guys feeling? You're all on mute. Are you intimidated? Are you empowered? Are you concerned? Are you excited? How you feeling?
Both the exhilaration and terrified at the same time, which is always a good combination.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a sign that you're moving out of your comfort zone, and out of your comfort zone is where all the growth occurs. So we like that. What do you guys need? What are you not getting right now in the path of the protege that you need more of? How can I help?
I think, Jessica, that I guess since I was the first one to step onto the path, so to speak, and move forward, I was exploring on my own. I was a trailblazer, and I don't think I was too reluctant to speak up and ask for help and what's next and that kind of thing. And I give credit to you and to Ron and to Robin for helping me. I do see some confusion again, like what Brian said, with regards to how do you get an advising master. They're not going to come out of the woodwork. They're not going to come and say, "Let me be your advising master." And since Robin's not on, I asked about who could I get for advising master, and Jessica volunteered Robin. So that was and that was a good pick. I think I guess I was unique in that my house cohort no longer existed since I was in Karen's, and that disbanded in December. So my new house cohort was a cohort I didn't know any differently with Ron's, and then Robin's. So I really had two brand new cohorts.
Right. That's a good point. I think you're gonna inspire that. I'm gonna make my my house the orphanage house for anybody who doesn't have a cohort to stay in.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
It is. I was going to say it's. I understand the student teaching kind of aspect to this, and I think that there is value to that. The big issue is if you come in as a protege and you are asked to student teach a cohort that wasn't the one you grew up with, you don't know a lot of the things that went on in that cohort beforehand. So it's very hard to, I think, leverage a lot of that, short of spending an immense amount of time studying all the posts and everything else. And you didn't have a chance to be part of the hangouts and so on. Like Robin was saying that somebody was on the verge of quitting, and she was able to pull out their goals and things they said to re-inspire them. And as a protege coming in as in a student teacher role, you don't have that knowledge to help leverage that. So
I agree.
That's definitely a challenge.
But that's part of why we have you pick an advising master pretty early, because really you can be in the advising master's cohort. So your familiarity with how that cohort's energy runs and what they're doing and what their policies are and how it works will depend on how involved you are. So that's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think.
Right.
I feel a lot of angst coming from Brian though.
Me?
Put him on the spot, yeah. I feel like you're going, oh good lord, what did I get myself into with these crazy women?
No, I was just, for that post I made, I was just getting very frustrated because not everybody can just go la 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 and just kind of take it from there and go. Some people need structure. So I was just missing some kind of structure with the whole process. I can take charge, that's fine, but I just need this, like your explanation of the advising master. Now I know. And so now I can do it. But before that, I was like, I thought I just had to wait and just do that little hashtag advising master, because I don't, if we don't know, then it's kind of hard. There's kind of there should be some kind of a balance between structure and the whole be a master, take charge, because there needs to be, not everybody's like that, so doing these hangouts is really good because it clarifies a lot of this, it's like now I know, and
well,
so it's just a little bit, it was just a little bit frustrating, but that's the reason why I said it, just to get it out there and to to get that discussion going and to clarify it, and which it's starting to become, because we don't know. I mean, going to this path of project, I didn't know it was this serious, really. I didn't. So I was, so I didn't know it was this really full-on thing. I didn't get that impression when I got into the path of the project either. So
what is it that you were expecting?
I don't know. I mean, I was just
not this.
It was just, I didn't know. It was just going to be. I didn't wasn't really sure about the time scale, like what Lisa asked. How about, is this 3 months strict or not? And because I was in no hurry, and then and then I got the impression that, oh yeah, there is. It has to be 3 months. So I was like, oh my God. So do I have to rush people and get me to the next stone? So I was just getting really stressed out about that. That's all.
Okay. I'm gonna clarify, and I'm gonna assume that I get to take charge because they made me the maven of the path of the Protege community. So I think I supersede everyone, and we'll just hope that Trey doesn't watch the rest of this. So I know that he wants you guys. 90 days was what we think is a fair assumption for you guys to move through all the stones. And part of that is also us looking to see your ability to manage your time and your ability to put the work in, despite the fact that you all have very busy schedules. And that can be because you're also leveling up in your other cohorts, but you also have work and you have family life and you have all the same things that all of us are dealing with. So we want to see that you can make it a priority and set aside the time, because if you can't do that for 3 months to get through the 10 stones to get to your own cohort, again, can we trust you to put in the time necessary, or are the headmasters going to be getting letters of complaint because you haven't checked in with your cohort in a week or two? Now, that said, I will also say that 90 days is also a guideline, and what we're really looking for is motion and movement. So I've gotten a couple of messages, either publicly or privately, saying, look, I really want to do, my tutorial videos, but I'm going here to do this thing next month, which is one of the videos that I want to do. Is it okay if I leave this for right now and move up to a higher stepping stone? Yes, absolutely. Hey, look, I really want to do my Meet the Master video, but I'm doing this amazing shoot that I want to use the behind the scenes. So is it okay if I take 3 weeks off because, or if I wait 3 weeks to do that? As long as we're seeing the method behind it, like math problems, show your work kind of thing, that's what we're looking for. Where we start to get concerned and where we start to think that maybe this isn't the right place for you is if we look and see that you've been sitting at stone 2 for the last 2 months and you haven't done anything just because you haven't done anything. And we're looking for you to problem solve. So with you saying there needs to be structure, guess who's the master providing the structure now? You guys are. So we're looking for you guys to be able to do both. So it says, the stones say this is what you need to accomplish. So we're looking for you to do that, and we give you the tips and go, yeah, hashtag advising master, and put your note up there. But then we're also kind of looking, part of the reason that I haven't pushed real hard is because I'm looking for you guys to prove that you want it. Because if you want it, you will go after an advising master, whether I tell you to or not. And you may have needed a little bit of permission just to feel like you weren't stepping out of rank a little bit or going around or overstepping, which is good. But at the same time, go for it. If you want this, go for it. That is always my advice. And I can tell how bad people want things by how much work they put into it. So just some food for thought. But also, one of the other things is that, you know, part of being a good master is understanding when something's not working. So if I'm not doing my job, or there's confusion in the path of the protege, or you feel like it's not being explained well, like, you guys are perfectly fine to get in and be like, hey, Jay Lark, why don't you do your job here and explain things, because you kind of suck at this whole mentoring the mentors thing, and I would really appreciate it if you would do your job as well and explain what the hell I'm supposed to do right now. You know, it's totally fine for you to do that, and there's no sugarcoating. Like, it's perfectly okay, and it's preferable. Does that make sense? Does that resonate?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's good with that?
Yep.
Like, you know, you can tough love me right back, because I definitely am. But is there anything else that you guys feel that you need clarification on, or that is fuzzy for you, or that you feel needs to be amended? No? We're good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we started half an hour early, and we ran 15 minutes late, so I'm pretty happy with it. I think that's just about long enough that we can go. Any last second things? Anything you guys wanted to discuss?
Nope.
Nope. We're good? Okay. All right. Then we are now officially done with the Path of the Protege portion of the Hangout, and I promised you guys that I was going to hang out with you guys for a little bit and just talk to you about what you guys are doing outside the Arcanum, and do Q&A if you guys wanted to ask any questions or anything. So you guys have 5 minutes to ask me anything you want, and if I'm not interested, I'm going to end the Hangout. Make that 5 seconds.
Okay.
4, 3, 2.
I have a quick question.
Okay, good.
I'm on level 8, so really all I have left to do is create my Meet the Master video.
Okay.
But I'm on level 13 in my cohort.
Okay.
So when I get done with my Meet the Master video, should I just drop a message and say, hey, I have to pause until I get to level 20?
Yeah, pretty much. But you started the Path of the Protege, and you have 90 days, which means you can put all your focus into the Arcanum. They won't schedule your Vanguard until you're at level 20. You have to be in the level 20 lounge. So if you're really excited about the Path of the Protege and you're whipping through that and you get that all done, that's great. And then when that's done, just, you know, put all your focus and tunnel vision into your Sphere 1.
All right.
Sounds
good. Sounds good.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Hi, Nicole.
Hi. Why is it I'm always driving when these are on?
When are you ever not driving?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sherry.
I was just going to say I'm about to be on step 7, which is to start your own cohort. Can I just get kind of a little short summary as to what that really entails? I mean, I feel like there's this big nebulous place that I get to enter into, but I have no idea exactly what to expect when I go in. So just a little preview or foreshadowing would be great.
Okay. So when you go into the Path of the Protege community, up at the top there's the available links, and one of them is Sphere 0 levels 1 through 9 for the Masters. And that breaks down what our framework is. Because basically what they did was they set it up in a way that they gave us a very basic guideline of what they wanted the levels to include. Like level 4 and level 9 are always critique levels. Level 14 and 19, level 24 and 29. Those will always be critique levels. And those are really the foundation of your relationship with your apprentices. And I'm sure you guys get that from the time that you've spent with your masters too. That's where a lot of the growth happens, and where you really get to kind of check temperature with everyone. But, you know, like levels 7 and 8 are kind of master challenges. They're really open-ended. You know, level 2, they wanted us to, especially in the foundation levels, because they're not familiar, most of them are not familiar with G+, let alone the Arcanum.
Right.
So there's certain things like level 2 for every single master was to get you guys to go into the library and find videos. Now, many people personalize that. Find something that inspires you. Find something that teaches you something you don't know about Photoshop. You can set that up however you want. It's just basic framework that you build your foundation off of. So
Okay.
what we're looking for you to do is to go in and create a G+ community, name your cohort, and build out the first 10 levels off of that framework and figure out how
Okay.
that gets personalized to you. So basically, we're just providing you the canvas, the brushes, and the paints. It's your job to make a masterpiece and create something that impresses us. And then invite a couple of your apprentices, your fellow proteges in, and you know, the advising master and your house master, and get some feedback on it and go back and forth. You know, another thing to do might be for each of you in your communities to pick one level that you want other proteges to complete and kind of mentor each other. That could be a really fun way to kind of get a feel for what it's like to run a full cohort. Maybe we'll make it that each of your cohorts are active for a week and everybody has to participate in everybody else's. You know, it's totally open-ended. You guys are the first proteges ever in the Arcanum. You know, Bob is the first one to finish all the stones. He'll be the first protege to ever become a master. You guys are like the inception proteges right now, getting ready to cross that threshold. So you guys get to help build this program. And, you know, they have a lot of great masters, and they have people like Robin that run mentorships, and, you know, the headmasters know what they want. But I think that you guys specifically are in a very unique position because you know what it is to be an apprentice, and now as a protege you're training to be a master. So I think you guys starting out as apprentices gives you a very, very clear perspective on what it is that the apprentices want and what they need in a way that we as the starting masters may not have gotten the benefit of that. And the same thing, you know, we are providing you a community and training you the best way that we can think of, but you guys are in it and you're in it together. So if you guys have ideas or inspirations on what would help you guys learn, help you get more comfortable, help you get better at critiques, help you build your communities, like throw some ideas around in the chat or in the community. Okay?
Hey,
That helps, thank
Sherry,
you.
I've built my level 7. I'd be happy to have you go into it and look around, and you might get an idea of what one of us.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'll send you an invite.
Thanks, appreciate it, John.
And that's really helpful for having your house master and your advising master too, is to go in and see between two masters that are already running cohorts and have experience, where are the similarities in the 10 levels? Where are the differences? Where are you seeing each of their personalities as people and masters and how they differ from each other? And what are you seeing cohesively that are like the bones and the structure of what's necessary for it to be successful? Yeah? Other questions, comments, concerns?
This might be a weird question, Jess, and it's probably more focused on John and Dave and I.
Okay.
But because we've got you as both of our cohort master and the person running the Path of the Protege, am I allowed to take a second master on as an advising master? Because I did get 2 offers, so I thought it would be awesome to have 3 opinions rather than 2.
Nicole's so sick of me, she can't even stand it. Do you hear it in her voice?
He's sick of me, though. I've been in level 20 for like a month now.
Yeah. No, that's totally fine. So the benefit of you guys being in my cohort is that you have me as the Maven and as the house master, so you already have me as 2. But if you want to pick a second master to study in the house to get fresh perspective, I am all about that. Go right ahead.
Okay, I just thought it'd be nice to see 2 different other cohorts, you know what I mean? Because you were saying that we should be going into our advising masters cohorts to see how they're run, so it'd be nice to see a third type.
Yeah, and not only is it okay that you do that, but that's exactly what we're looking for when we're looking for you guys to stand out and show us that your master material is the ability to push above and beyond, because it'd be very easy for you to just sit right there in my cohort and go, okay, well, I have her as the maven and I have her as the housemaster and I only need one. So the fact that you want to go and have more perspective shows us that you know, that you're really invested in this, and that's really what we're looking for more than anything.
Mhm.
So yeah, absolutely. Good
Okay.
question.
I'm gonna accept my other request then too.
Good. Excellent.
Jess, how many
Unless it's-
proteges are there? Or has everybody filled out that form? Your document?
I don't know if everybody's filled it out or not. If they haven't, it's their loss because we're not paying attention to them without it. So part of the self-discovery. I don't know exactly how many there are. I think there's probably like maybe 25 or 30 of you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Let me see. There's enough. That's what you need to know. There's enough that it's a competition. There's 51 members, and I'm thinking there's probably at least 25 of them are active masters right now. So, yeah, I would say somewhere between 20 and 30 of you total. And there's a couple more that should be in the next couple of days. I know Bruce is coming over from our cohort too. He's been asking. So.
Yeah, there's 20 proteges that have actually entered information in that form.
Uh-huh. Therefore, there are only 20 proteges. The rest of them are loiters.
So can we ask to be invited into your cohort, Jessica?
Yeah, you can come hang out in mine. I don't see why not. I can't personally take anybody on as an advising master because I'm already all of your advising masters as the head of the Path of the Protege. And that may become the case for Robin too, because she's in there just as much, if not more, than I am. And Robin and I have a very healthy affection for each other and how we run things, but we also have very different feelings on a lot of things and how we do it, which I think is why we like it, because what the other one does really resonates, but it's still totally different. So I think that she has a lot to offer you guys that's a lot more structured, and I'm a lot more touchy-feely. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, let's be inspired, and I want to motivate you. And she's like, you will do these 12 tasks, and they will make you better, and we will build you bigger and stronger. And she's absolutely right. I'm always blown away by the efficiency in the way she understands and breaks things down. So I'm very growth-oriented, and she's very goal-oriented, and both of them are essential, especially as a master. So it may be that she stops taking on as an advising master too, because if I have my way, she'll help me run the Path of the Protege community, because I think she has a lot to offer. What else?
If there are no expectations from you or from Robin, can we be asked to be invited into your cohorts just to see how you run things?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And interact with people. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I will warn you. The way I have mine set up, I have 0 through 10. And then I have a second community that is my Sphere 1. My Sphere 1 is totally different, and it doesn't follow anything that the Arcanum's about. So I don't recommend you guys sitting in my Sphere 1, because I actually sat down with each of the apprentices at their level 9, and they told me where they were and where they wanted to be and what they wanted to accomplish, and we built a custom sphere map for every single one of them. So when you go into my Sphere 1, it doesn't say level 11, level 12, level 13. It says Nicole and John, and it goes all the way down with their names, and their 10 levels are completely different from everyone else. So I have people that their goal was to have a gallery show, and Lars right now has his gallery show coming up, and so his level 14 critique was bringing the 20 images that he's going to put prints on the wall for his gallery show. But it's really neat, because when it's personalized like that, it's, I think one of the most intimidating things is to go, here I am, and this is what I want to accomplish, and it's so far away. and I don't understand how to get from here to there. So it helps to have somebody else be able to break it down into step-by-step instructions, and then all of a sudden it's not so scary. In hindsight, and all of my masterly wisdom, having done this now, I will tell you that is definitely a Sphere 2 or Sphere 3 kind of thing. But all of my apprentices worked really, really hard, which is why Trey also recommends, and why I'm not like eating on the 90-day thing, because Trey also recommends that you should get through the first 20 levels in 3 to 6 months, and I've had most of mine for a year now. So, so I mean, you're welcome to come in and test it out, but in hindsight, I would say that you follow the structure that they set up for the first 20 levels, because they really are kind of foundation levels, and it's really about them getting to know the arcanum and getting familiar with Google and really starting to kind of just tap into who they are as artists and what it is they want. And the higher spheres should be more of that honing in, I think.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah.
Has there been any indication of when they might move some of this stuff more onto their own platform and away from Google+? I'm curious how that transition is going to hit everybody.
I'm interested to see, because I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. I didn't sign a non-disclosure agreement, but I also really like being a master, and I don't want to wake up and find out that my cohort's been closed. So I don't know. I know that they started out and they threw a lot of their own money in, and some of you guys are IT guys. You know how expensive it is to build programs and websites and communities and stuff. So Google covers a lot of what their own software would do, and the thing is that even if they opened up and it was all Arcanum based and you went to the Arcanum to log into your cohorts and everything, we'd have just as many problems there and glitches, because it would be new software we were working out. So I know for right now that's not their priority, but I also know that they're getting ready to roll out Sphere 2, and with Sphere 2 is coming a lot of really interesting and fun little changes to the Arcanum website that I think is going to be really beneficial. So I do think that they're going to start to overlap and intertwine a lot more, but I don't see and I don't hear of it moving completely over to its own platform anytime soon. But you can definitely write feedback at thearcanum.com and recommend that along with everybody else that does.
No, I think one of the struggles with the first levels, the foundation levels, is I see it. I've seen it in multiple cohorts where people struggle just trying to understand how to use Google+. So I was wondering if we're going to get halfway through this, or we're going to become masters potentially and do it for 10 levels, and then all of a sudden it's going to get shifted over to a new system that everybody has to learn. That's why I was curious.
I mean, anything's possible, but you bring up a very good point that one of the first things that you might want to do as masters before you start inviting people is create like a welcome video, which is something I've been meaning to do, that just says, hey, this is Google, this is your cohort community, this is how you add an album, this is where you find your assignments, this is how you get on a Hangout, this is how you screen share, and you guys can use each other for that and check in. But it would be really interesting. Maybe I'll make that a group project for all of you all to get on a Hangout together and, teach Gucci Plus to newbies. That'll be fun. And everybody will thank you for creating the assignments, so way to be an overachiever there, John. All right. Is there anything else you guys wanted to chat about, or are we good?
One more question for me, Jess.
Okay.
With the ideal 3-month period, and I mean, everyone who's in this call that knows me knows I'm an OCD.
Mm-hmm.
My videos, like the tutorials and the critiques, when is good enough? Good enough, because I've redone my tutorials 3 times already, and I'm still not happy with them.
That's personal preference. They're good enough when you think they're good enough because they're representing you. you know, you're representing the arcanum and they're going to come in, but, you know, I mean, it's a good thing for you to take a look at some of the other tutorials and the quality and proficiency of them, I think, and kind of gauge from there. But at the same time, I'm a firm believer that you only compete against yourself. So we're not striving for perfection, we're striving for potency. If it gets the message across, if it does what it needs to do, I think that's enough, you know. I mean, if you're asking me, having seniors, I think your tutorials are fine. I also know you well enough after 20 levels to know every single minute that you're looking at and going, I'm going to fix that. No, it doesn't work. So it's personal preference. I like that about you. That's one of the reasons that I picked you as a master is, and I don't call it OCD as much as just you strive for excellence in everything that you do. And I think that more than your advice, your apprentices will follow your example. And so that's a really strong feature for me coming to bat for you and saying that you should be a master, is that you are an example that I would like to see other artists follow, because I think it will lead them to their own success.
Okay.
So, you know, but like, let's not get crazy with it, okay? Like, it's fine that it didn't quite work out exactly perfectly and that that thing jumped, or that you didn't, you know, have the screen perfect or whatever. So, you know, perfection and excellence is good. OCD and crazy is not.
Okay. I will try to rein it in because it is a new medium for me. Video is not easy.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll nominate John, and you can pick one or two. I'll nominate Bob, too, since he's waiting to actually move up to master, and you can send them to one of your tutorials, and they can let you know if it needs work or if you're crazy.
I already told her she's crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but now you have to watch the critique and then tell her.
I have watched them. I've watched them all. And I'm like, why did you make that? Why did you remake that thing? Just, it's good. Move on and make the next one better, but not the same one over and over again.
Yeah, well, that's actually a good point, too. Like, don't get so caught up in making a video perfect when it's good enough, because that time could be spent making a different video and transferring information, because that's really what we're looking for, is to provide the maximum exposure for them to you to be able to learn from you. So I would rather see you take notes and go, I messed up here, here, and here in the recording or the software or what I don't like, and apply that to your next video rather than going back and remaking the same video over and over. So John is correct.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, I gotta calm down then. Calm down.
Okay, good. Hi, David.
What's up?
You jumped on just in time to say goodbye.
Ah, bye.
We were actually going to go another hour, but then we saw your name and everybody was like, quick, we're hanging out now.
Oh, that actually, I'm kind of used to that. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so any other questions, comments, concerns? Are we all good?
Yep.
All right. I've been in critiques and in this chair forever today, and my neck is done, so I'm out. And
Thank you for that.
You guys can stay in the hangout if you want, or would you like to do this again? Is it beneficial? I would love to sit down and just have a conversation with you like I do my own apprentices and just see what you guys are doing outside the Arcanum too.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Sure.
Okay. All right. You did fabulously. You guys were troopers. Thanks for hanging out. Bob and Brian, your stamina is amazing. That was like 2.5 hours for me out. All right. I will talk to you guys shortly. We'll try to do it again next month.
Okay. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
Jeff.
everybody.